Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Dividend Portfolio Weekly Update. As you can see right away, the portfolio sits at a valuation of $30,391.92. That is, of course, at the start of September. So for the last week, we are up about $57.61, in addition to $10.83 in earned dividends we can expect from a couple of our companies, probably coming in the next month or so. I believe one is Realty Income and the other is Brookfield Renewable Partners. So be on the lookout for those dividends to come in. For the day, though, we are trading relatively flat at about $14. No ex-dividends have passed today. For the month, we're up about $540 overall. And then for the month, we're up about $1,540. So pretty good returns overall. We've been still seeing a lot of uptrends overall driving the market. Actually, if we go over here to look at the major indices, the Dow was actually down over the last 5 days, but the S&P 500 was actually up, as well as the NASDAQ. So we've seen a little bit of divergence between the major indices over the last week. This is probably due to tech stocks being driven by positive news from the Federal Reserve in tapering bond purchases by the end of the year. Usually tech stocks are the most impacted by Fed decisions, especially when it comes to interest rates and bonds. So that would explain why maybe the industrials are down a little bit, but things like the tech stocks that drive the S&P 500 so aggressively would be up. So if we do head back here to the M1 Finance portfolio, we didn't really have a lot of activity this week. I did make my $100 deposit as usual, which shows up in my net cash flow. The $10 that you see there, in addition, was some uninvested cash I had in my account from dividends. So in my activity here, I had a dividend from Starbucks that came in on the 27th, which was the last dividend we earned in the month of August. So with that cash as well as my deposit, I did make 3 purchases. One was Target, which I picked up about 1/5 of a share. Starbucks, that was only about 1/10 of a share. And then FedEx was also, again, about 1/5 of a share. So with these purchases, that increased our annual dividend payout by about $1.50. None of these 3 companies are exceedingly large dividend payers, but they are all oriented towards dividend growth. So these are more future plays that I can rely on to draw income from when I eventually may need it. So going over here again, I did want to cover a little bit about what my monthly income looks like for the month of August, as well as what we can kind of expect for this month in September. So usually months like March, June, September, and December are usually the best month for dividend investors, because those are when typically companies will pay out dividends. If they are paying quarterly, that's usually the schedule probably most companies follow. Occasionally some will kind of diverge off that, but typically we can expect, again, as you can see here with my calendar, that March, June, September, and December are by far my largest paying months. August we just wrapped up, so we already have the number that we earned for August, which was $58.25. So that is a substantial boost from where we were just a year ago, where we earned $28.45. So we can see a little bit of that snowball compounding effect, which we want to see. So we would like to see month over month that we are increasing, as well as year over year. Year to date, we've actually earned $449.91 in dividends being paid out to us. So that is some nice income to count on. Most of that actually came from my long-term portfolio, of course, as my Roth IRA is a lot less in value, so it's not quite generating the same passive income. But for the month of August, these are the dividends that were paid to us. Highlight them here. So companies like JP Morgan, Verizon, Lowe's, Apple, Enterprise Products Partners, Costco, Realty Income, Procter & Gamble, Starbucks, and Verizon again, because it is in my Roth IRA. So just a little note about Verizon, especially when it comes to that IRA, is a position I'm probably going to be exiting in the near future. I just kind of fallen out of favor with Verizon for a little bit. If we go over to its chart, Verizon is a fine company that probably will be around for a while. It just doesn't have the growth that I would like to see as a younger person, where I don't really need the dividend income now. Just mostly invested in it for the dividend, not really for any growth, because over the last 5 years you can see it's up a whopping 3.7%. Pretty flat overall. I mean, the max chart is a little better to an extent, but just not really what I'm investing for at this point. I'm looking towards that dividend, but also with growth in mind. So this is definitely a position I'm looking to trim a little bit when I see an opportunity, which may be in the near future. So in addition to my thoughts on Verizon, I did want to talk a little bit about my portfolio's winners and losers of the week. The winner of the week was actually one I was really anxious to see, and that is Vici Properties. It actually rallied about 5.5% over the last 5 days, including about 1.36% today. Vici is kind of a company that had been in a little bit of a tailspin the previous month or two, especially considering they had the news about the MGM Growth Property merger, which was, I think, a great move for their company overall. Vici is a company I talked a little bit about last week that I'm pretty bullish on long term. They pay a healthy dividend, and they have all the property in Vegas and other gaming properties across the country, which I really like. I think that'll be a big business going forward. So that was my winner of the week. My loser of the week was Pfizer. It dropped about 4.23%. Today it's down less than 1%. I'm not sure exactly what's driving this. I think Pfizer was probably a case of being a little bit overvalued. In fact, if you look at its 1 month chart, it actually kind of follows the opposite path that Vici did, where it was kind of crossing up here to $50.42 and then kind of sunk off. Pfizer could be looking at another rally, especially if they do get approvals for the COVID booster, which everybody's talking about. So that could be a boost to their financial statements and their books. So there's another thing to be on the lookout for. So back here to the M1 Finance portfolio, a couple last things I wanted to note is the positions that I'm kind of looking to boost here in the near future. So some of these positions I'm very bullish on, of course, mainstream companies like Apple and Microsoft. But I'm actually also looking to increase my position in Pepsi and Costco. I'm waiting on Costco to dip a little bit, since it's also another company that's really rallied over the last couple of months. But also Visa and FedEx. FedEx is a company that I really like. I'm actually down on my position right now, but I do think FedEx has a strong position, especially if it can take a larger share of packages being delivered in the e-commerce space, which will be a big business to be in for probably the next decade to 20 years. So I would like to add to FedEx in a large way in the near future. So guys, that's going to pretty well wrap things up for this video. If you did enjoy it, go ahead and drop a like, as well as subscribe to stick around, and hit the notification bell to get updates on all of my latest videos. So with that being said, guys, I'll catch you on my next video on Monday.